and thanks for coming. It's my honor to give you the presentation on the topic about what kind of informal workers prefer formal contract. It is an empirical analysis based on the Uber rideshare drivers in China in the Chinese context. Let's begin. Altogether, there are 4 authors for this paper. And the aim of this paper is to find out the informal workers' characteristics which influence their willingness to have a contract. And data used is from a special study of Uber rideshare drivers conducted by the School of Labor and Human Resources at Renmin University of China in 2016. And the logic model is used. The background of this paper is, as is known to all, it is an internet era that many new economic models have risen, and the platform economy has attracted great attention from the society and also absorbed capital from different parties. The platform companies in China has exceeded that of many developed countries in the world. And also brought China various changes to the traditional employment relationship. And so we here term the non-traditional employment relationship as work relationship, which we included in the human capital relations. Giggers, freelancers, independent contractors, and also crowd workers has arisen. So their problems arise too as well. First, they have limited access to the unemployment relationship, unemployment insurance, pensions, and welfare, and also related compensation. Also slow down the economic growth and have no ability to protect themselves. In the traditional employment relationship, one efficient way to protect workers is to ensure that they have working contract with employer. They contain terms, conditions, and expectations from employee. There are 2 forms of contracts, formal one and the psychological one. But in China, the formal one is more important currently, concerning the following reasons. The first is that China has experienced the transformation from the labor-intensive developing economy to a capital and technology-intensive developed economy. And in this context, it is very useful for a formal contract to be considered as a cooperation and a coordination device to improving relationship performance, and also can reduce the opportunism risk and adaptation problem under the high employment uncertainty. But there is no traditional employment relationship and no traditional formal contract in the platform economy, so there are problems. Some informal workers still need some protection, stable income, as well as good working conditions. In order to deal with this problem, first we have to make it clear what kind of the informal workers need of signing of a formal contract with the platform they serve. On previous research, there are 2 competing views about whether informal workers want this kind of the formal contract or not. One view holds that the informal workers do not want the government intervention as well as a formal contract with their employer. But their opposite view holds that no government intervention and formal contract may result in lack of protection and also increase the risk of inequality. And without a contract, this kind of the worker regarded as a weaker labor market position than other workers has formal contract. So it's mainly describes the context of the traditional employment relationship. And primarily explain work consideration when they making decision to sign a contract. So research gap is with little attention on the emerging informal workers in the platform economy and their characteristic which influence their decision to sign a contract. The analysis paper I have mentioned about before. So the data is from a special study and makes a quota sampling of ride-share drivers of Uber platform based on the city, gender, and the vehicle type. 9 cities in China included, and was launched in 2016. The valid sample is 12,942. There are some characteristics from our statistics. We can have a look. So the larger model is present here. The contract is the drivers designed to sign the contract, and the beta B is a constant term. 户口, who knows what is it? It's a registered residence in China. It's Chinese characteristic, yeah. And it is co-explanatory variable. And XI are another control variables that influence Uber ride-share drivers' willingness to have a contract, and the epsilon 0 are random errors. As the explained variables, Uber ride-share drivers' willingness to sign a contract with the Uber platform, and the questions about are you willing to sign a labor contract with the platform used in the questionnaire, and about more than 17% of the total numbers of the ride-share drivers want to have this kind of the formal contract. It's a huge number. And the 户口 is an important individual and family factors. There are about 44.72% of the drivers have 户口, and more of the drivers do not have a 户口. Other explanatory variables included in Table 1 has individual and family factors, working factors, and unfair experience in the previous job. We can have a brief look. Yeah, here. And also 3 models are used. The first one is taking into account of the individual and family factors, including 户口 as a main variable. And model 2 include working variables. And model 3 include unfair experience before someone become a ride-share driver. This is the result of my analysis. I can explain it next. As for the education year, the age, the gender, the marital status, also they all have no strong significant relationship with the intention to have a contract. But the children, the full-time drivers, the work started before driving as unemployed or laid off, have positively significant association with the intention to have a contract. And as for the working factors, driving income as a percentage of the total income, we here choose the driving income over 75 of the total as a control group, and the others as experimental group. We can have a look at here. Here, we choose these 3 groups as the experimental group, and the percentage over 75 as a control group to exclude the outside influence. Sorry, yeah. We can see that there is an increase in the willingness to have to sign a contract occurs with the increase in the percentage of the driving income. That is means the more reliance on the income from platform, the more interested a driver is to have a contract with it. It's easy to understand maybe. And as the variable minimum income from driving also has a significant negative association with the contract, with the willingness to sign a contract, indicate higher expectation of income from driving, resulting less intention of contracting. And as for the weekly cost of driving, also has a strong relationship, but has a positive coefficient. So that means the more cost on the driving, the more willingness to have a contract. As for the unfair experience before becoming Uber rideshare drivers, there are significant positive relationship. If somebody has unfair experience before becoming a driver, he would be more want to have a contract with the platform. As Weiguo, I think you guys are very interested in that. It's a special feature of China. Has also passed the significant test at the 0.1 level with a negative coefficient. Many big cities in China have set many restrictions on the employment of certain high standard and occupation for migrant workers. That is mean some big company with good payment, good welfare, good compensation may not want to recruit the person who do not have Weiguo in China. And the government, for example, the government introduced work permit system of migrant workers in Beijing in 1995, which restrict employment and types of jobs that migrant would hold. The company can only employ migrant workers in the following limited circumstances. Yeah. This discrimination is regarded as one of the most serious problems in the labor market in China. And so that the workers who have Weiguo locally may be more reluctant to sign a labor contract with the platform because they have other better choice. They may have other better payment from the other company, has the requirement of such kind of Weiguo in China. So we come into our conclusion. As for the individual and family factors, education year, age, gender have no significant impact on the rideshare driver's intention to have a contract. But the drivers with children, full-time drivers, and drivers unemployed or laid off previously are more intended to have a stable relationship with the platform, so that they are more willing to have a contract with the platform. As for the working factors, the more reliance on the income from the platform, the more intention to have a contract with it. The more variable minimum income, the less willingness to have a contract, and the weekly cost have a positive impact on the contract intention. Moreover, the drivers with unfair past experience may have more intention to have a contract with the platform. The Weiguo, as we said before, the rideshare drivers with Weiguo maybe more reluctant to have a formal contract with the platform. There are some limitations of this paper. First, the data used from 2 years ago may not valid in this time, and second, the data come from the research on the Chinese platform enterprises may not valid in other countries or areas. And the last one is that is focused on one kind of the platform enterprise, so that further research may include other kind of the platforms, such as Airbnb and whatever. Yeah. So pay attention to the needs of the informal workers. The Chinese government now have later policies to regulate the new economy model and also emerging work relationship in the platform economy. Most of the informal workers are not contracted with the platform they work for, apart from somebody who do not want to have such kind of contract. There are also many kinds of the informal workers that have a strong wish to contract it with the platform. The future research need to think about how to meet the needs of the informal workers about respectively under the condition of no formal contract existing. So policymakers need to be clear to which informal workers particularly policies are needed and to consider more compensing measures to regulate work relationship in the platform economy. This reference of this paper. Thanks for your comments.